Kyler Murray's season officially done. Is his tenure with the Cardinals over? What the Cardinals do next with their franchise quarterback?
Why the Arizona Cardinals made this move, what led us to this point, and what changes are imminent come 2026. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier, #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Bo Brack. Already been live once today. Back at it this afternoon. No man behind the mic. Big changes here on a sleepy little Friday in December, Bo. Oh, I think you guys are muted. There you go.
Yeah, no changes this podcast, but big changes afoot for the Arizona Cardinals. What's going on to everybody in the chat? Represent with their supporter emojis, dropping their lives. Become a supporter today for the low price of $5. This episode brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. Use the code PHNX365. Deposit $10, bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Nice little chance to build your stack. Maybe put that money towards some nice gifts this holiday season. But yeah, as you said, second time we are live here on the YouTube streets over at PHNX Sports. Make sure you're subscribed because it was a little surprise. It wasn't surprise what Gannon told us. If you've been listening to this little fanboy podcast for the last 2 months. But for it to be delivered today, I went in there ignorantly believing like, oh, what's the status of Marvin Harrison Jr.? What's the status of Trey Benson and Walter Nolan III? Instead, well, I did get that, but also piggybacked was just the news that we were expecting, but not expecting today, that Kyler Murray is not going to play the remainder of the season.
Let's hear from Jonathan Gannon.
And then Kyler will not play again this year. So he has some more tests done this week. Went out of state, got another opinion on it. It's not progressing where it's going to make sense that he can go. So he's going to be done for the year. So there's the list of injuries. I mean, this week, it wasn't, he's, progressing in a way that we wanted. So we went and got a different opinion. Some different people, and kind of looked at it, and it's just not right. Disappointed.
Do you expect him to be the quarterback next year?
I'm worried about the Rams right now, honestly, Josh. I just feel bad for the quarterback. You know what I mean? I mean, he got hurt, and he wasn't healthy enough to play, So, I mean, that's first and foremost. That's where I would leave it right now.
A lot going on.
Murray done for the season. Don't you like how he just kind of bangs the table? It's almost like the Seinfeld music. It's like, Kyler Murray done for the season. Over.
I mean, left field, you texted me. I'm like, what? What's happening? Why are they doing this now? Why do they feel like it's necessary for them to do this now? And the only thing that I can think of is that they just don't want to have to answer and deal with it for the rest of the year. Like that to me feels like the most logical response, because unfortunately or fortunately for Cardinal fans, we got 5 more weeks of games here as this team is barreling toward a top 5 pick. And they've made a conservative effort clearly behind the scenes that are like, okay, we're gonna nip this in the bud, get some messaging out. This is also, why would they not announce this on a Monday? Because this is called a Friday morning news drop, so it doesn't get traction over the weekend. There are games last night and Sunday. There's college football tomorrow. It's like, go away. You dropped
Yeah.
this on a Monday. It's around all week. They dropped it on a Friday because they're like, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off. As Ryan says in the chat, that's 100% right. And they're going to go about their business the rest of the year. And then they're going to give us some generic coach speak in January. And then they're going to try to trade him in the offseason. And it's something we've echoed for 2 months on here. And I don't necessarily, it wouldn't be my choice on how I would run my franchise, but it's based on the information we've been given. It's very clear what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I guess it's unceremonious. It's, it just kind of, it's how things just go out with a little bit of a whimper. I mean, it's very likely trending towards our last, glance of Kyler Murray wearing an Arizona Cardinals uniform was taking a snap to his face mask on an ill-fated play that, he gets injured on, and he plays the rest of the game. He misses a couple practices and comes back. And then in this weird just kind of scenario, he's done. And not just done as far as this season. He's done for as far as wearing an Arizona Cardinals uniform. It kind of encapsulates a little bit of how things have gone with this team, especially on the offensive side of the football, not necessarily just like Kyler, but it's just one of those things where it just festers and then just kind of like dies off.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because of where everybody's expectations were, not just like when Kyler Murray was drafted 1-1, but just months ago, the lead up to this season, and for it to go as horrifically wrong as it did, and it end in divorce based on probably some irreconcilable differences, but amicably, it's just really, as Kyler put on his TikTok, bit of a weird year.
Yeah. I mean, no other way to put it. And I feel for the people that don't watch this show. I feel for those people regardless, but I feel for the people that are truly taken back by this, couldn't kind of read the tea leaves as it relates to like where this was headed. Like it's clear, like you can argue all day that this is the wrong decision. And I'm not going to push back on that. Like, who are they playing a quarterback next year? Who are they getting? That's right. It's better than him. Right. He may never win a playoff game or a championship or whatever, but like they won 8 games last year. Gannon can't win games without him now. That like I'll entertain that point, but like what you can't argue is they have made up their mind. We knew they made up their mind, and I think the word amicably is the right word because I think Kyler Murray is very pro this decision as well. It's like this is you've got two parties here that are going to be parting ways in the offseason, and they're both going to be looking for greener pastures, but knowing that reputations have been scarred. Kyler around the league, we're going to see what the perception looks like. I think he's going to have an easier landing spot than internally what Jonathan Gannon and Monti Ossenfort face as potential lame duck GM head coaches, and trying to find somebody equal or better than Kyler. That's going to be very difficult. For Kyler Murray, it's like you could go play, 1 year under Kevin O'Connell and completely, rehabilitate your image to some people. But I feel like this was a message to everybody else that we are punting on this until January, and then we will punt on it again until we trade him, if they can trade him. And this, again, they are going to try to trade him. And if they can't, then they're going to have to cut him.
Yeah. And it's not that, Kyler Murray wasn't going to be the best option on this team to play quarterback. I mean, that's just, it's a moot point. Like they had made their decision, and there was no putting that genie back in the bottle at all. It was the path forward was, okay, Kyler now will remain out of the lineup until the end of the year. And then once the final whistle blows on this season, we get to the off season, and it becomes the off season where they try to find somebody who's going to take on Kyler, and mostly that contract. The contract becomes the major hurdle as far as trading Kyler, because there's certainly more than enough teams that need a quarterback that would take on Kyler Murray. But will they take him on as far as the $37 million that the team that would potentially trade him would have to take on? The Cardinals would certainly be saddled with dead money, but they still have cap room to really do whatever they want to do. It's just how can they find the path of least resistance as far as parting with Kyler is a trade, and can they facilitate one? They're going to have about 2 months time once things become real as far as the NFL offseason. But they're just kind of they've kind of gone by step on this thing, and the timeline's been weird because you've got a Titans game, you've got a couple days where he didn't practice, and then he showed back up on practice on the Friday before the Colts game, and then he's practicing limited, he's throwing to practice squad players, and then he's back with active roster players, and it's like this 3-week yo-yo. And it's really strange. And then the Monday Night Football game happens, and Kyler's thrown on IR afterwards. And then he goes through the whole IR, ruse, whatever it is. And then he's eligible to come off, and they're asking Gannon post game after this recent loss against the Bucks. And I think they knew hey, we just have to nip this thing in the butt finally and just get it done. And now they've bought themselves time until Black Monday. But then once that happens, you've got a whole new ball game as far as how you're going to reshape this roster. And Kyler Murray is the first of many dominoes that are going to fall after this chaotic and underperforming and disastrous season for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, this is the first of many. We alluded to it this morning. I posted it on Twitter. The only people that I would deem safe are Gannon and Ossenfort as of today. And I know that people are, and I hear you. How could they be safe? If Kyler is going, they need to go.
Yeah.
Again, not our opinion. Those are facts. You can take it to the bank. He is going to remain the head coach of this team. Monti Ossenfort is going to remain the GM. There are going to be coaching changes. There are going to be movement on the staff. And I would imagine most of it is going to go on the side of Kyler Murray's side of the ball, which we talk about pretty ad nauseum. I mean, they're going to have a new identity one way or the other. And again, I don't want them to lose. I don't want them to have poor performances, but you've talked about this before. Jacoby Brissett right now and how he's playing and how he's not playing, I think gives them some clarity into what he is and what he isn't going into this offseason. I think if you look at his box score and his numbers, you tell maybe a little bit different story than, a lot of that is happening later in games. Games are out of reach. Hasn't been the best fourth quarter quarterback. They are going to be on the lookout for a day one starting quarterback in 2026 for the first time since 2019. Consistently. The year Kyler Murray went down, the ACL tear, they dicked around and signed Dobbs. But
you can even argue back in 2018, they didn't really do it. They didn't have any plan. It was Sam Bradford and Josh Rosen. It was pretty far down the depth chart as far as free agent quarterbacks that offseason. And of course, in the draft, there were 3 quarterbacks selected in front of Rosen until you traded up to 10th overall. There hasn't been a legitimate plan, as far as the QB position outside Carson and Kyler. And it's been a lot of just ham sandwiches in between.
But at least the offseason in 2019, we thought, well, it'll be Rosen, right? We thought, okay, Rosen's going to be the guy,
Yeah, Cliff's quote, he's our guy.
He's our guy. And then he wasn't their guy. It's really 2018, you're right. That offseason where Carson retired, they signed Sam Bradford to $20 million and they traded up for Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
And that was a very bad decision, but that was their plan. What are the Cardinals planning on doing this offseason? We're going to get into it. That and more. Game preview for the LA Rams. Who's out, who's in.
Is there a game?
Whatever. Hit that it's PHNX. Feeling full on this K1 news? How about feeling full with your food with our friends at Factor? Fall always feels like a reset. We've got holidays in full swing. Time for cooking can be tough. That's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter what. Again, best option for eating great food, losing weight, supporting your wellness goals. You can also get 97% of customers who said Factor helped them live a healthier life. I'm a testament to that. I love Factor meals. Eat smart. factormeals.com/PHNX50 off. Again, use bonus code PHNX50 off to get 50% off your box, plus a first breakfast for a year free at factormeals.com. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid now. Check out Factor with new customer code PHNX50 off and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
Yeah, invaluable during the holiday season. The holidays all about giving, but your wallet doesn't have to take the loss. Between road trips, holiday dinners, grocery runs, and filling up the tank nonstop, season gets expensive. We all know about that, but the hack that puts real cash back in your pocket, I'm talking about Upside, baby. Upside's a free app that gets you actual money back on stuff you're already buying. How about gas? How about groceries? Even going out to eat. We all do that. We always look at our transactions online and we're like, holy hell, I spent a whole lot on eating out. Well, get paid to do so. Direct to your bank account, cash back. Yeah, it's not like, hey, just do this and that. No, it gets direct deposit right into your bank account. 100,000 places on Upside. You just open the app, claim an offer, swipe your card like normal, and boom, you get paid. Upside already given back over $1 billion. That's right, to users. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app. Use the promo code PHNX. Get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first tank of gas. That's 25 cents per gallon back. Cash when you get gas back to you. Not bad. Use the promo code PHNX.
Hit that like button, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube as we continue our Kyler Murray discussion. Again, like looking back at earlier this season, you and I have been consistent with this take where Kyler Murray was never going to be benched outright for play. They were never just going to pivot, but this injury and the subsequent weeks that followed, they turned it into a gray area. And again, I think you can look at it from a bunch of different perspectives. I think Kyler Murray is obviously, poised to start for another team next year and seems to be okay with that. And the Cardinals wanted to be able to see Jacoby Brissett operate their offense at a more conventional stance. And so I understand there are a lot of people that are frustrated, like, well, they've screwed Kyler Murray and so on and so forth. I'm not sure I would look at it that way. I think the biggest mistake was in the offseason of January, you did not find a coordinator after 2 years that could tailor an offense to Kyler Murray, and instead just said, I'm going to roll with a coordinator that, he and Kyler Murray underperformed in the last 7 games. What's more valuable? A coordinator that's a dime a dozen or a quarterback that has a chance to be a top 12 quarterback? And they said, you know what, we're going to go with status quo and we're going to go with continuity. And it was a huge mistake. And as a result, it's going to end up that neither will be here come this offseason, which is very ironic, Bo.
Yeah, who knew back then that was going to be kind of the fatal blow and that they weren't going to have the infrastructure that they expected from the protection standpoint, from the run game to where it really made and put the play calling under a microscope. And you can tell you don't need a microscope to examine it to find out that it's flawed. Tremendously flawed, and it didn't set Kyler Murray up for success. So like that plays into where I think you can speculate that Kyler Murray had his reservations of coming back. What would he want outside of going and playing with the guys that he prepared and created this process with and had 2 off seasons where they went to California and did off campus field trips to gear up for the season, and were a tight-knit group. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Michael Wilson, and the whole collection of playmakers, and Kyler would fit the bill for that. But, did he want to come back and run Drew Petzing's offense behind this offensive line with no run game after going through the struggles that they had the first 5 games of the season? I think that you could make the case that probably didn't want to get up to the challenge for that. I mean, he was a competitor, but did it make sense for him? And he has lived through these 7 seasons. He's frustrated, I'm sure, in his own right, just as much as the fan base is frustrated with him not being able to break through. So it's really kind of an interesting thing. It's with all that, you got your hot takes, you got your rumors, but at the same time, it's just this is the end. it's over. Like all that you want will to see it succeed. And this is what it is going to have been. It's going to be, one little kind of Linsanity run playing at an MVP level to start the 2021 season. And then after, like, kind of around that, like, he had his best season in 2020, right? 36 total touchdowns, 37 total touchdowns. But outside of that, like, after like 22 and beyond, like, there was a lot of like, well, if he could just do this, Kyler Murray can get back to playing that way. He can start throwing the deep ball again, and we can see him be electric with his play, with his legs. And it just, no, Cliff, Drew, they just couldn't tap into it.
It's crazy too, like the stark drastic opinion of people that follow this team, people that follow the Cardinals nationally, and it's like whether or not they believe Kyler Murray will have success and to what level. Like, I don't know if I encourage everybody to watch our hit with Brian Baldinger that's on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
And Baldy, who watches as much tape as anybody, is very, very of the mindset that Kyler Murray will never be a franchise quarterback. And again, that's his opinion, and he's going off of 7 years. And then there are people, rightfully so, in this fan base that are like, the only time that you ever compete and are relevant are with Kyler Murray. And that's true too. Like, they have not been relevant over the last 6-7 years. Now, a lot of people would say, well, he held the organization hostage. When he's a good player, he's a really good player.
Right.
But it came back to that consistency piece. We sat with him at Salt River Fields this offseason, and he's like, I know I have to be more consistent.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. Kyler Murray was not a victim, but he was a little bit of a casualty of the erosion of the offensive coaching and like the Clayton Adams situation.
Yeah.
Like, I really do think that hampered everybody on that offense, but especially the quarterback.
No doubt about it. I mean, they couldn't run the offense that they kind of cultivated
for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. And, one poor performance from the offensive line, a blueprint for the rest of the league to kind of run off of, and the inability to adapt without Clayton Adams. And then, the injury to James Conner, the injury to Trey Benson, and kind of an identity crisis that they didn't lean into until it was too late. It was the downfall of this team in this season. And Kyler Murray, he certainly, fell victim to that. I think there are varying tiers in degrees of starting caliber quarterbacks in this league. Can he go in there and can he operate an offense? Can he make plays? I think Kyler Murray certainly can. Can he elevate a team? Can he take them to the next level in the face of adversity, of injuries, with things not being perfect? I think we've seen that, he can't, but is he a solid quarterback? I think, yes, he can be. And then there's the Cardinals. It's a horse show without Kyler Murray in the lineup, because Kyler is a starting caliber guy. You go to the backup caliber, and they have just 2 wins with that type of quarterback in the lineup. And it just stands to show that the Kyler Murray successor has to be starting caliber, or it's not going to matter.
Like, you would think, goodness, if you're Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, and you sit in a room privately and are like, we can't win a game. And there's some arrogance that's involved with this, and there's some pride. And it's like, clearly they were disappointed with the production from Kyler. I don't think that we've not shined light on that, especially from Monty's perspective. But they also knew, like, coming into this year, well, what's better than Kyler? What's the alternative? And they didn't have one, right? And I was on this show for draft season. Take a Jalen Milroe, do something. Try to, if you're that much kind of in and out, either be all the way in or make a decision like, okay, we'll have something else. And that turned out to be Jacoby Brissett, which, like, we know, like, really high end backup and can play really well for a spurt of time. And then you just kind of wait for the other shoe to drop. 2 things are true. They are not going to have a quarterback better than Kyler Murray once they trade him on their roster. That's number 1. Number 2 is, whatever quarterback they do bring in, that quarterback is going to have the expectation to not only win, but to outperform Kyler Murray wherever he lands. And that is, you look at Joe Shane and Brian Dable allowing Daniel Jones to leave. And I just, I don't think the Cardinals can afford to just say we're taking Dante Moore in the top 5 or we're taking Fernando Mendoza in the top 5. I think this search and this scavenge for another quarterback is going to start immediately after Kyler Murray is gone. Because, like, if they were cleaning house, especially with Gannon, you could say, like, okay, Clint Kubiak's their next head coach, and they're going to take Fernando Mendoza. And then they're going to we're just going to see what happens. And nobody's calling for anybody to be fired. But when you retain everybody, and then there's a playoff mandate out there by Benjamin Albright, I hadn't heard that. I just know he's coming back. Like, how do you put that on a 22-year-old, 21-year-old in the NFC West? It is a daunting task. As much as, like, Michael Bidwell had his reservations about the Kyler Murray contract, clearly because of the homework clause.
Right.
I honestly even he has to wonder, like, we can't win a game without him. Like, what's the plan, guys? I'd love to know the plan.
Yeah, everybody would. I mean, that'd be nice. One thing that I think is a false narrative, and I keep seeing it, that people are saying Kyler Murray's being scapegoated by this organization. Who would buy that? Outside of the day one Kyler Murray haters, the guys that have been there. Who's actually having these conversations today, or looking at the Cardinals at 3-9, or in looking at them moving off of K1 and saying it's a Kyler Murray problem? Because I don't think that's the conversation where it happened. To say like we're scapegoating Kyler Murray, you got to listen to the conversation. Because I hear a lot of the offensive coordinator's fault, and the offensive line not being up to snuff, and them not being able to run the offense that was going to be put in place for Kyler Murray to have success, and not being able to get to do that. But then also it being in year 7, and also the other variables as far as ownership and general manager and the front office, and that it's the 7th season and they just haven't broke through yet. But we're not looking at the 3-9 Cardinals and saying Kyler Murray is the reason for why this team sucks.
I haven't even thought about Kyler in like 2 months.
I know. Me neither.
I'm just like, why does the defense blow? Why can't they run block? What happened to the offensive line? Why is Marv's dad calling out the team ahead of Monday Night Football? Why can't Drew Petzing complete a press conference? Why are they the worst fourth quarter team of all time? Like, we have shows,
right,
that we go on and on. We don't even bring up Kyler Murray. Right. There's a lot of like kind of dirty streets right now on Twitter where it's like there are people who are very upset about this decision and will not hear any reason or rationale. Like, yeah, of course you can be upset, but like to not understand like where this was going. Like, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't. The people who are like, this is a complete joke of a franchise. I can't believe you would do this. He was supposed to come back this year. Come on. Okay. Then you're not, I don't have your pacifier for you because you can't consume like traditional legacy media or anything like that to basically insinuate like he has a lot of money owed to them. They don't want to pay him that. Everybody wants to move on. This is the easiest way. The team blows. They're not going to let him get injured against the Rams in a throwaway game and have to pay him all that money. It's like, this is at the end of the day, the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray mutually parting ways, mutually. And again, like, it's really disappointing because the optics of it do look like they chose Drew Petzing and they chose, Jonathan Gannon over Kyler Murray. Like, again, everybody's going to have equal amounts of pressure next year. Mm-hmm. But Kyler Murray, the 7 years has come and gone. They didn't win enough with him, not enough to warrant that price tag, according to the Cardinals, and they're going to try to find an alternative. But I think he's going to have a market. And, man, if they can't trade him, I mean, you think today's depressing. We do that podcast. They have to cut him when they turn around and they get Spencer Rattler. God help us.
All over again.
Yeah.
It's 2018 all over again. Sam Bradford.
I think mine's better than that, but we got to see it.
You would hope. You would absolutely hope. As far as those quarterback options, where could the Cardinals turn? Plus, there is a game this weekend. Who's going to be available? Who's going to be able to catch the football for Jacoby Brissett outside of Trey McBride? We'll give you that info and more. We're starting to get into the game preview, but still some Kyler talk coming up. PHNX Cardinals.
And next break in 3, 2, 1. Again, big thanks to all of our sponsors, including our friends at Rally House. Cardinals might be keeping you down in the dumps, but that doesn't mean you can't sport your favorite gear from all your Arizona sports teams. Rally House is the go-to spot to shop your local Arizona team gear. Tens of thousands of products to shop from, locally owned. They've got Tempe, Mesa, Glendale locations. And again, it's not just merch. They've got drinkware, signage, coolers, socks. They've got ASU, U of A, Cardinals, Suns, and more. They only carry Arizona sports teams. Check them out right now. Every time you visit a Rally House, you're guaranteed to find something new, unique, and matches your game day vibe. Find your local Rally House location. Shop their entire product assortment online. rallyhouse.com today.
More solutions for being a last-minute shopper like myself and Johnny. How about, to avoid the panic, shelves are picked over, 0 ideas left. Christmas is breathing down your neck, but I've got that cheat code for you. It's Aura Frames. It's personal. It's easy. It actually makes people emotional. Johnny cried when I gave him his Aura Frame. It was an emotional day for Johnny. There's also that one person that's impossible to shop for. For me, it's my wife. I mean, I give her a gift receipt every time, and it's right back to the store with whatever I bought her. No longer with Aura Frames. You got the Christmas Eve shopping run more times than I'd like to admit, but Aura, they come in the clutch. You can do it right now and be confident you got the right gift that's going to be to the heart. Can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. For limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com and get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver Mat frames. Named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code PHNX at checkout. That's AURA. Aura, as you think about Johnny, has an incredible amount of aura. AuraFrames.com. Promo code PHNX. This deal exclusive to our listeners. Frames sell out fast. So order yours now and get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning Johnny and me, PHNX Cardinals, at checkout.
A little behind the scenes trickeration there. I like to start my segments like this, 3, 2, 1, and let's talk about Kyler Murray's replacements. Hit that like button. Well, first, before we do that, I can even tell. So chat was a little tenuous this morning. Mm-hmm. We got chat today where people are upset or they're feeling like
crashing out.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a crash out. And listen, you don't have to like all the takes. You don't have to like all the facts or the opinions, but that's what we're going to do every day when we log on. Like if you want some slop, you can get some slop elsewhere. There's plenty of other slop related content here locally that you can consume that is going to, tuck you in at night and make you feel great. And we're going to give it to you straight. And we're going to tell you exactly what's happening. And we'll never do that. We'll never not do that. Excuse me.
Yeah. No, we won't. We got close to 250 in the chat. Hit that like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. We will get into our game preview, but I think it's takes a backseat, very secondary to the news of the day.
Yeah.
As we said, second show. Just talking about this. Had the emergency pod earlier, and then we continue it here. And that's the big fear. Like Kurt Warner talked about it when he joined us, I think back in September. Like the main fear of moving off of Kyler Murray. He's like, sure, like you didn't get the consistency that you wanted to tap into that next level, but you knew what you were going to get from Kyler Murray, and that was going to give you the ability week in and week out to compete. And now you're staring down what's on the other side of this. Can you find a starting caliber quarterback? The draft, it just seems like there's going to be 2 guys that are viable options. The rest of them are polarizing prospects, from Ty Simpson to Lenoris Sellers to we'll see who else comes out. Nussmeier, like you're probably throwing up in your mouth as I get that low on it. Outside of Mendoza, outside of more, it gets a little bit, it gets dicey. And then you look at this veteran market, and it's really going to be, who can kind of overcome their demons that they've already faced at the NFL level. Who can you get right without the benefit of a quarterback whisperer on staff, no matter who you hire? Like, there's not going to be a KOC. There's not going to be a Ben Johnson. There's not going to be the next Bruce Arians that's going to be available as a play caller. So you're going to have to just couple, a young signal caller or a veteran with red flags up with just probably, hopefully a step up from Drew, which would just be like an NFL caliber play caller, and just hope for the best. Like, you're going to have to do things like the Vikings outlined with their quarterback position a couple off seasons ago. Like, there's quarterbacks that you need to prop up, and then there's quarterbacks that you can like surround. Like, you're probably going to have to prop up this quarterback in the interim to be able to get into survival mode and win football games enough to tap into what Benjamin Albright reports is, like a playoff or bust scenario in 26.
And are you smart enough to do that? Like Kyle Shanahan is. Kyle Shanahan can have the wherewithal to fire his third DC in 3 years or whatever it is and get Robert Saleh and sign Mac Jones and take a fourth place schedule and turn it into coach of the year stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't think the Cardinals are smart enough to do that right now. Like, I know we're going to have new hirings and some terms here in January. Yeah. But like the people that they bring in, can they even, like, the first thing you have to ask yourself, can the coaching staff even the playing field in the NFC West with who we know is returning and not returning? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a huge ask. I mean, it would take they're going to need a huge swing. And we like the names that we're hearing for the next OC, but there's still going to be a lot of heavy lifting involved. And then you have to be able to execute at a high level this entire offseason. You have to be able to develop or develop some of these players that have fumbled under your watch. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of closing the gap. I mean, and again, like, we've watched Kyler Murray be on a subpar team or an average team and win 8 games. It's like, okay, well, you felt like that was kind of the floor. I don't know. I do feel like they have put themselves in a very difficult position. Yeah. And we are going to be waiting on bated breath, because the minute they make that acquisition of quarterback, one way or the other, it's going to come with an immense amount of scrutiny. And there's not unless you take somebody else's starter. Yeah. Your people are going to say that is a massive downgrade. Even the people who are anti-Kyler Murray as a long-term option, to which they are many, those people even have to admit, well, yeah, they're way worse now.
There is not a quarterback as it stands right now, barring anything unforeseen, like a relationship just kind of going by the wayside,
right?
With a starting quarterback right now that you could say that's a surefire, just starting caliber quarterback that you can put in there. Mm-hmm. That you can, confidently say, hey, just give us a chance. If things go well, if he plays his best ball, the Cardinals can win this Sunday. Like, I think Robert Saleh is probably out of the division next season. I think it's pretty safe to say he's going to put himself in a position to be a head coach again. So like that helps, right? So you talk about that play caller. It's no longer going to be like, can he match wits against Robert Saleh? I mean, I sure as hell hope he's out, right? And then you look what's coming in this week, where the Rams have given up the second least amount of points in the league, and their defense is humming. And Shula, like, I'm sure Shula's probably going to be there again. I don't hear his name getting thrown around enough to say like he realistically could jump. But Mike McDonald's not going anywhere. Mike McDonald is the premier defensive mind in the division along with Saleh. So it's like, is that play caller going to be able to win that battle of minds, that of scheme, like enough within the division to help this staff that's going to get another chance to help JG stick around beyond 2026?
They must feel like I have not heard their plan for quarterback. We will know, but I haven't heard it. We've heard their soft plan for coordinators. I do feel like if Jonathan Gannon knows he's coming back and Monti Ossenfort knows he's coming back, then they understand the task at hand. I would hope so. Anything less than a winning season next year, barring something unforeseen, like what are we doing here? Like I know people are very much of the mindset, well, Michael Bidwell is not firing them because he doesn't want to pay their coach and he's cheap and all this other stuff. I think the easy thing for Michael Bidwell to do would be to fire everybody and say, well, we have a top 5 draft pick and we're just going to start over and I'm going to get an offensive guy like I did with Cliff and we'll just do this. I would argue this is the more unconventional path. I don't think that this is the easy path. And it could be the wrong path, but it's not the conventional path. And so I do, like, I'm not giving him credit necessarily, but I do think that's a shtick that I see online a lot. It's just like, hey, Bidwell's taking the easy way out. Does anything sound easy to you about this? This sounds like impossible to me. I always thought with Kyler Murray on a decent roster, they always had like a floor of about 7 wins and they could always be around 500. Jonathan Gannon would kill to be 500 this year. And we've seen the alternative. I mean, they are going to be in a position this offseason to take massive swings. And if Michael Bidwell is allowing them to stay in their roles, they're going to be allowed to make those swings. Yeah. They're going to take massive swings. We know it from an offensive coordinator standpoint. They should. Massive swings. Guys who call plays before who are established. And then, I expect them to call on, starting quarterbacks. I mean, would you be surprised if they traded their first pick for a starting quarterback? It would not surprise me. Given what the situation, let's say they end up picking between 6 and 8, and we know there's only 2 quarterbacks coming out, and it's just not realistic to get a guy. And the ticker comes across, and they trade a package of picks for a starter. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, let me answer that on the other side. Could the Cardinals use their first round pick to trade for a quarterback? Who could that be? Get into it. It's PHNX.
Cardinals tickets at an all-time low with our friends at Game Time. I believe you can get into the building for Rams at Rams at Cardinals this weekend for $18 last time I looked. But again, if you're looking outside of Glendale, how about the World Cup finally coming back to North America for the first time since 1994? How massive this tournament is going to be. 48 teams are happening. Very first time, but actually getting tickets, that's a tough part unless you're using our friends at Game Time. Game Time is such a lifesaver. The app, it gives advantages back to fans. Win tickets, matchups are all you care about. Track price drops in real time. Get alerts when seats open up and grab those tickets in the moment. Again, take the guesswork out of buying soccer tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use the bonus code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and comply. Again, create that account. PHNX is the bonus code. Tap, ticket, swipe. Download the Game Time app today, Bo.
On your way to the event, fill up on gas or snacks. 'Tis the season for over $80 million in holiday prizes. Yeah, I was talking about snacks. I'm talking about, how about just about winning tickets with our friends from the Arizona Lottery. They've got the Arizona Lottery Holiday Scratchers. They're here, and they're bringing the heat this holiday season. Per usual, looking for stocking stuffings, actually bring excitement. Ooh, another toothbrush. Ooh, another socks. No, how about scratchers? I can pay off my college tuition with this nice little pepperminty smelling scratcher. Do it. 6 festive scratchers to choose from. How about cash countdown? Prizes up to $250,000. Candy cane cash. Smells just like that peppermint as I was talking about. And yeah, your lottery ticket smells like Christmas. You can dash to instant prizes, holiday fast play tickets, perfect last minute gifts. How about White Elephant Gift? It's the ticket made for gifting. Whether it's the stocking stuffer, quick surprise, or Secret Santa at work, a little gift could turn something big. So this season, love the play and spread the holiday cheer with the Holiday Scratchers from Arizona Lottery.
Do us a favor. We got 270 watching live here on a Friday. We appreciate everybody spending their time with us. Hit that like button. I posed the question to Bo. I'm sure we're going to ask many, many times this offseason. So they're starting quarterback in the NFL that the Cardinals could trade for. I'm going to throw a couple at you. Okay. Not necessarily for their first, but given set of circumstances, whatever, they could be available. Let's start in the AFC. I think the Tennessee Titans could make Cam Ward available. We've seen that before. I'm not saying any of these are likely. Cam Ward, Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith, Deshaun Watson they take anything. And, Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, Tua. Those are the elites that could be available in the AFC. Is any of that doing it for you?
No, it's not. You know, I know like a guy like Lawrence would probably raise the eyebrows of a guy like Monti Ossenfort. I just don't think that he's a guy with that contract that's movable. He's at the stage in his contract where there's so much dead money that the Jags would have to absorb that it's not feasible. I think he would, if somehow you could find some sort of miracle arrangement, they'd be in on that. Cam Ward, I don't think is worth, even though he was 1-1. I don't know if you give up a top 10 pick for Cam Ward.
Yeah, it would be have to do the Rosen deal where you're kind of 80 cents on the dollar.
Exactly. So I would check in on Cam Ward if he became available.
I mean, like they get a new GM and a new head coach, and they love Fernando Mendoza, and they're like, well, shoot, what do we do here?
Yeah,
you try to get what you can. I mean, like, yeah, I think again, like that's a tough sell to their fan base if they're bought in on them. Let's look on the NFC side of things. There's not anybody that jumps out immediately. I've talked about Jalen Hurts before. That's a pipe dream, obviously. Dak isn't going anywhere. Nobody in the NFC North appears poised to leave. Michael Penix for the Buccaneers. Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler. Bryce Young is going to be sticking around.
Yeah.
And then obviously nobody in your own division outside of Mac Jones, who I talked to somebody yesterday who's a Niner fan, and he said, why wouldn't the Cardinals trade for Mac Jones? And I'm like, I just think that, like, I think the Cardinals would have interest if he was just like straight up available. He's not available.
Right.
And if he becomes available, they're going to trade him. They're not going to trade him in the division to play him twice. I think they would trade him to Minnesota or somewhere else. So, I mean, like you're playing a dangerous game by doing this whole thing. Like much as like we can sit here and say Kyler Murray is a flawed player at times, and there's something to be desired in certain aspects of his game. Think about some of the quarterbacks we just named.
Oh yeah, and
I've seen the heel turn on Twitter where a lot of people who were like Kyler Murray for other fan bases are like Photoshop Kyler as a Viking, as a Falcon, as a Jet. They're like, hell, I mean. I think in that sense, the Cardinals are playing this well. That they're like, hey, just wait. He's available. Just wait. Right. But then it's like, what are you going to do?
You're looking at the lack of success, right? Jacoby Brissett just one win at the helm of the Cardinals. Like, oh, maybe Kyler Murray was doing more than we thought. And it's just like, it's time. It's healing things, and it's making him look like for these quarterback needy teams, they need to go after him. There's a starting caliber quarterback. Yeah, I think you even have to that's optimistic looking at those quarterbacks, like looking at QB1s who've been there playing for most of these teams this season. Where I think you have to kind of go, and people are going to retch at this, like Anthony Richardson, like that's more of a realistic option than looking at a guy who's got a big bloated contract that's just tough for the team to move. Like you're going to really have to take on a reclamation project. Like this is going without it. Like this is not like Fixer Upper where it all turns out like it's going to be. You're going to take an old dilapidated house and it's going to turn out to be a legit, forever home. Like this, like it could just be a disaster. Like more than likely, like there isn't even enough to show like, hey, there's a potential Sam Darnold out there. Like you're going to have to go like Bucks, Baker Mayfield. You think that this is just damaged goods. And then the play the following season has to tell you a different story. But like being able to see that forest through the trees is nearly impossible at this moment because 7, 8, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 people are going to say that guy sucks. I know it for sure until his play tells you otherwise.
Yeah, and again, like we don't know who the OC is going to be. We have a decent idea, but like that, do you let that OC have input? I think you put him in the room. I think he has to be involved in some aspect. I think it would be a major mistake to have Monti Ossenfort just go get a quarterback and throw him to the new OC.
Right.
Like, hey,
right. Here's your guy. Right.
Figure it out. Like, yeah, it's free agency is going to be. I mean, let's see. Like, that's why I keep coming back to the fact that, like, you trade Kyler Murray, a lot of it is dependent on the package, right? And how high the picking are the Cardinals. And then you start thinking, okay, we take this pick and we take a future one and we try to get up. And it's like, okay, then you can get out of the offseason alive with some hope.
Mm-hmm.
You cut Kyler Murray straight up and trade for Spencer Rattler. I mean, you're signing your death wish. You really are. Like, unless you turn around and you win 9 games, you're done. We're coming back around the corner. Game predictions for the LA Rams. Hit that like button. It's PHNX. Pure Edibles is here to help you get over this 2025 season, and they're found here in Arizona with 130 dispensaries statewide. Pure was created in Flagstaff at Noble Herb Dispensary, the home of Pure Edibles. It's now made here in Phoenix, Arizona. Pure gummies are not covered in sugar like their competitors. Pure is a full-fledged candy company offering gummies, kicks, chews, and hard candies. Their effects are listed on each tin so you know exactly what to expect. And gummies offer sleep support as well as candies with uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD with marijuana-derived THC. Pure gummies are designed to be ripped or bit in half, making them easily shareable or easy to dial in your exact dose. Go find yourself some Pure edible products from one of their over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. It's Pure Edibles.
Love Pure Edibles. Also love the fact that I went to Circle K not once, but twice today. Filled up at the pump, plus double dipped on some coffee. Love their coffee, the hazelnut. That's me. Circle K, Inner Circle Rewards. It's free. Download the app and start to save big in America's Thrift Shop or at the pump. Your first 5 fill-ups, you get 25 cents off per gallon. And then you reach different echelons like 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents. They got their fuel days, 40 cents off per gallon. What are you doing? You're just burning money. Plus, you get exclusive deals. How about 79 cent Polar Pops, 99 cent Frosters. It's unbelievable what's going on. Deals for everyone. The Meal Deal Matrix, $3, $4, $5. Join the Inner Circle. What are you doing? Save money that you would otherwise be losing for free. Download the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for all the details.
Hit that.
Here are a couple names I just want to throw out there in no particular order, okay? And I get your barf bag ready. It's tough to kind of put lipstick on this pig right now, the future quarterback position for the Arizona Cardinals, okay? Tanner McKee. A lot of Philadelphia Eagle fans want Tanner McKee to potentially get an opportunity. Seems to be a preseason darling. Former Stanford quarterback.
I don't think that they would ever, as I'm like, trade for Jalen Hurts. I don't think they would ever do a deal with this regime with the Eagles front office after what happened. I don't hate it. We've done that with the Kevin Cobb deal. But I don't think if the Eagles thought Tanner McKee could play, they would trade him. So I'm going to say no to that, but I don't hate it.
All right. Just throwing it out there. Nothing. This is a brainstorming sesh.
Right.
Okay.
Safe space.
Get ready. Get your barf bag ready. Davis Mills has been a trendy name as well this season. 3-0 as the starter for the Houston Texans, really benefiting from their defensive performance. You're going to have to like one of these.
No, slap me in the face. I don't want that.
Slap you in the face. A name that I've brought up a couple times on this show, Derek Carr. Former Saints and Raiders quarterback. He's taken this season to kind of get out from underneath that Saints contract, went into kind of retirement, but him and his brother doing a podcast, his brother David Carr has said, right? He's on record saying he believes that his bro is going back to playing the NFL level. He's got starting experience. He's got a 30 touchdown, season under his belt, but we'll see what's kind of his arm is. It may or may not be pulled pork. I think that's the big thing you got to look into as far as.
I mean, like if he's straight up just a free agent and they bring him in, he can pass a physical. Sure.
Yeah. All right. And then you get into like the rookie part of this where it's like, it's Ty Simpson at the bottom of it. And then Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza.
If Ty Simpson does not declare, then the Cardinals would need to trade up for the first overall pick. If Ty Simpson declares and you are picking 5th, you got a really good chance to get one of the 3. Mendoza or Moore, I feel like would result in. I mean, if we should go, we should be going through hypotheticals, and we will in the next couple of weeks.
Let's pace ourselves here.
The Giants and the Titans have the first 2 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those picks will be traded. If things stood there right now, both of those 2 picks you would assume would be dealt, unless Cam Ward got traded. Do you agree with that? Both those picks are both those picks. So, I mean, you're picking 5th to go from 5-2 or 5-1. I mean, I like that idea more than slop free agent quarterback.
Yeah.
Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking with gas.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say it again. As far as this fan base, you're going to have to unlock a piece of your mind where everything else is going to say, no, that guy sucks, and open up like who could they possibly target that, and like you could be skeptical of it, but you have to think like this is who they could target given the circumstances of the quarterback availability or lack thereof this offseason. And I mean, and if the Giants love Dart, so they're going to move forward with him. And then you like the Ward thing's interesting. Then you've got a couple, quarterback hungry teams and teams that just drafted quarterbacks that are probably going to be back in the market as far as Cleveland and New Orleans.
I'm going to tell everybody right now, Cardinals are picking 8th. Okay. Let's go. I'm going to walk through a couple scenarios here. Then we'll get to our game predictions for the game.
Okay.
That is going to be a tough watch. Commanders welcome back Jaden Daniels this weekend. They play the Minnesota Vikings. We assume the Washington Commanders are going to win another game.
Yeah.
So Cardinals, we would assume they're going to leapfrog the Commanders. The New York Jets, who have won, I believe, 3 of 4.
Look out.
Play Miami, Jacksonville, New Orleans, New England, Buffalo. Do they have one more win under their belt? This weekend, they get to play Miami at home. Then they go at New Orleans on December 21st. That is a huge game. So let's just conservatively say the Jets get one more win. The Cleveland Browns at 3-8. The Tennessee Titans come to town this weekend. The Cleveland Browns and Myles Garrett against the Tennessee Titans. If they get a dub this weekend, it will likely be the only dub they have the rest of the year. Then they get Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. For the Cardinals to pick up the Browns, it has to happen, in my opinion, this weekend. So those are the 3, the Commanders, the Jets, and the Browns. I am conditioning the notion that the Cardinals will be behind the New Orleans Saints and the Las Vegas Raiders, barring something unforeseen, which would put the Cardinals, if they lost out, at pick number 5, with the Titans and the Giants picking first. So you would have to jump 2 teams to get up there, and that's possible. It's not easy, though.
They've done deals with the Titans before, but it's new front office there.
Yep.
They were able to kind of take advantage of Ron Carthon, trade down from they gave up that 33rd overall pick for them to take Levis. Will Levis, anybody? You've got a new front office that's going to want to try to rebuild this thing a little bit quicker after all the losing they sustained this year. They're gonna have to provide a little hope to that fan base. So they're going to have to be aggressive. You got to be the team that's going to help them be aggressive and get up the draft board. Like they can't just kind of sit back and wait. They don't. Like that's going to be a very sought after pick, given what the quarterback market's going to look like.
That's going to get traded right after the combine. We both know that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump into our game predictions quickly. Run through player predictions for the LA Rams this weekend. No Trey Benson, no Marv, no Walter Nolan. No hope, ? Here are my player predictions for this game. Michael Wilson, one of the only few wide receivers healthy. Xavier Weaver, I think, has a hamstring. Greg Dortch is out. Andre Bocellia, yikes. So Michael Wilson's going to get 20 targets. Love you, Mike. Garrett Williams has the tall task of guarding either Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams. He needs a big game. And then Darius Robinson's been playing better lately. So I'd love to see D-Rob have a chance to hit Matthew Stafford. So those are my players for the game. 3-8, 3-9 Cardinals.
Nice players. Here are my 3 players. Let's talk about them. Trey McBride, just an unstoppable force. Same reasoning as Johnny with Michael Wilson. Who else is going to catch the damn ball this weekend? Trey's done it, 14 straight games with 5 receptions or more. He's done 3 straight games with 8 receptions or more. He's had, 30 targets and caught 27 of them. He's an absolute manimal out there on offense for the Cardinals. He's my key player of the game for the Cards. And then on defense, it's Sweaty J, 11 sacks. He's a guy that seems to be a good deal for the Cardinals after signing up for 4 years, $76 million. Sweaty J seems to be the guy that's consistently doing it week in and week out for the Cardinals defense. So why change up this week? And then my X factor, make the damn kick. Chad Ryland. Can he make his kicks this week? Can he not miss for a 3rd consecutive week? Because it looms large when he does. Give me Chad Ryland, swaggy Chad, getting it done this week if the Cardinals are going to find any kind of success in keeping this close with a tough division rival.
Noah, man.
Hello. These are my key players. We got Isaiah Adams on offense because let's see if he can continue to play well. Defense, Josh Sweat, again, just grab some more sacks. And my X factor is Matt Hack because they're going to Hawk. My bad. Hawk Tua. We're going to punt a lot to the Rams. So hopefully he feels good and is up to the challenge. He'll be the most used Cardinal.
I'm ready to feel good about these predictions. Let's see them, Noah. Ba-ba-ba-bam. Sad boys. Sad boys and their toys here. Cardinals lose across the board. Noah going on a limb thinking the Cardinals are going to score 20. Bo and I are about in the same camp. Not looking good for this team this weekend. And I think the Kyler news is going to come and go until this offseason. And I think the most common denominator that I saw on Twitter today was, why is Gannon safe? Kyler's gone. What the deal is? And it's going to be very difficult to try to rationalize that after this weekend. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope the Cardinals can be competitive, keep it close. Yeah. Young players shine, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride. But anytime you're losing again to a divisional opponent by multiple touchdowns, it's a hard sell for us.
Yeah, look, I mean, Drew Petzing has kind of been overmatched by the other DCs in this division. I don't expect any different from the best defense in this division statistically, Los Angeles Rams. It's going to be tough to put up points. I think last week was a little bit of fluke. The Panthers were able to capitalize on 2 turnovers. That was the difference in the game. We haven't seen the Cardinals capitalize on their turnovers. Like, they've gotten them. They got 4 of them against the Jaguars. They had 4 more than the Jaguars, and they lost. Can they change that? They're going to have to. Yeah, we're just seeing some lopsided scores, and that's unfortunate. Like, you start to put that out there as far as the Cardinals and the zeitgeist and all that. Like, it's bad because when you can't get any buy-in, even like the biggest homer Kool-Aid guzzlers out there, it's a tough scene.
Let's jump into your super chats. Greg 199, JG handing out player hall passes like Oprah today.
Yeah, looking at the injury report, well, I mean, before he dropped the K1 news, he ruled out a bunch of key players. No Marv, no Greg Dortch, no Trey Benson. And we'll see if he even gets activated before his window closes. No Max Melton again, also dealing with a heel. Walter Nolan continues to deal with the knee. No LJ Collier. He will not be activated. And Amari DeMercado looks like he needs another week for that high ankle sprain to heal. And Rabbit Taylor Demerson, very strange, how his ankle has kept him sidelined as long as it has. Then you got a couple questionable, Beachum, Zay Weaver. I mean, Michael Wilson is the last man standing literally in that wide receiver room.
Probably should have put Taylor Demerson on IR, but whatever. Yeah. Shaft, $5. This should not be a surprise to anyone. We knew what was coming. Let's hope that we can trade him. Maybe Minnesota and Atlanta, we can start looking for a new quarterback. Well, all they have to do, Shaft, is just do the exercise that Bo and I just did. And Kyler Murray is going to be atop, I would imagine, a lot of teams' wish list. The key is creating that sense of urgency where teams feel like they have to make a deal. Desert Vulture, $5. Fans have deserved honesty from this regime since day one. I feel like every time JG speaks, it's fake news. He wasn't coming back ever.
I mean, I get that you do want transparency. I think more so on the injury front with, players who don't have things behind the scenes variables playing into that. Like the Kyler Murray thing, here's where I do understand it is where the organization had made their mind up, and then they had to protect that asset. And they couldn't just come out like, well, Kyler Murray's not playing because we as an organization have decided to move on, even though it's very transparent what has happened. Like anybody with a brain can realize that. But I think the team has put JG in a tough position to have to field questions about this since basically week 6.
Yeah. David, a new member. We appreciate you, David. Welcome,
David?
my guy. Appreciate that. Thank you. Again, everybody hit that join button if possible. Become a member here on YouTube. Spence 199. They played this K1 situation odd, weird 7 years. It has been a strange 7 years. I remember covering this team for PHNX 2021 and Kyler Murray, he owned this town. And we thought at that point, when they were 9-1, he was in everybody's, hierarchy of Cardinal players for the next 10 years. You would have assumed he was going to be a staple of this franchise. The fact that after that hot start, it has collapsed so dramatically. They have been firmly under 500 since I was at that Packer game where AJ Green didn't turn around. I was at the game right after JJ Watt was done for the year. They just, those of us who were covering the team at the time, and for those of you that were fans at that time, like how special that season felt.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it's like, not only do you have a franchise quarterback, you might have the best quarterback in the NFL. What he did to the Titans and the Commanders, he went to Cleveland. Cleveland was hot defensively. Didn't matter. And it was such a fleeting feeling. And they have not been able to capture it one iota since then. And can't say that multiple regimes haven't tried, and another one's going to try again this offseason.
Keeping it going with the super chats. How about goes to Pat Tilley? Thank you for the $20. Only above average quarterbacks in my 6 decades as a fan. In order: Kurt Warner, Carson Palmer, Jake Plummer, Neil Lomax, Jim Hart. Where does K1 go with those, Johnny?
Kurt's number 1. I would put Carson Palmer number 2. I would put Jim Hart number 3. I would put Jake Plummer probably number 4. I would put Neil Lomax, who was a good player, probably above Kyler, and I would probably put Kyler last. That sucks. Those other guys had more consistent success. Maybe Kyler over Neil Lomax. The first 3 are indisputable. Kurt, Carson, and Jim Hart. Look up what Jim Hart did in the 70s. It was ridiculous. And then it's Plummer, Lomax, K1. You could have any order. You're probably not wrong. Jake won a playoff game. So Jake, by default, probably goes ahead of Kyler.
Yeah, I got different kind of criteria. I probably put Kyler 3rd or 4th. Jake threw 20 interceptions 4 times in his career. He just didn't take care of the football. I know it's a different time, beloved, with 2 fan bases here locally, ASU and the Cardinals. I just think that what Kyler did bring, as far as his playmaking ability, look at statistically, it kind of dwarfs what Jake was able to do.
That's fair. Listen, like I always said he was the greatest homegrown quarterback of all time. I thought this year he was going to cement that. Jim Hart, I know it's a very different time, won 10 plus games 3 straight years. There was a lot of losing in between, but he had multiple winning seasons for the Cardinals. Like Kyler's going to be known as just having 1 winning season. That's tough. That's very tough.
How about Ben, the Cardinals fan? People have been talking like he passed away today.
That's true. I chuckled, man, when I saw your super chat. That is, Kyler's going to be fine. He's going to make a lot of money. He's going to start for somebody else next year. Cardinal fans are the ones that are like, we suck now. We're going to give a quarterback away.
Yeah.
And I get that. I get that 100%.
How about Cruz? I hope I'm wrong, but this Rams game is building up like the worst loss of the year. Rams by 25 plus, maybe. I mean, we've seen two brutal performances against Seahawks and the 49ers. I mean, it's be tough to beat those.
Seahawks game, 35-0, non-competitive, and you have the Seahawks calling off the dogs. I mean, does he survive two of those? I think he needs to just keep. I mean, the last two losses have been competitive, which no one wants to hear. I don't think he can have many more blowouts. As safe as he is, that is difficult. Short stack Goblin 199. If you're moving on from Kyler, it's got to be a rookie. I mean, I think regardless of who you get in free agency, you got to take a quarterback with a top 40 pick for sure.
Yeah, you just don't want it to be like Tyler Shuck,
Yeah, for sure. You got to get a QB in here with some GD juice.
Yeah,
people can be like, okay, I've seen enough Derek Carr for half a season. Get so and so in the lineup.
But the one thing is Brissett is top tier backup, right? It's just it hasn't translated the way that they go down in games and they have to battle back the entire time. That proves it's solidified that he's a backup quarterback. And you've got him. He's been in the league. He'll be going into his 11th season. I think you've got a good in-house mentor for a young player to come in. You know, it's when you start to look at the veteran market and it's well, then who's better than Jacoby Brissett? And there's not a whole lot of options. And that's why it's well, I don't want two Jacoby Brissetts on this roster. At least give me somebody that you can, at least bluff me into thinking has more upside.
And that's where it's do they talk themselves into Jacoby Brissett this offseason? You can't let them do that either. Tim, thank you so much for becoming a new member, my guy. Appreciate that. Yeah. Desert Vulture, $2. Ideally, we need a coach and a QB coach before a quarterback. I mean, you're gonna get a new OC.
Yeah, you're gonna offensive coach and
probably get a new head coach.
Yeah. They like Israel Wolford. We'll see. I mean, it really depends on if the OC wants to bring in his guys, but they like Wolford. We'll see what they say about Drew Terrell. Johnny, you think they like Justin Fry, so we'll see what happens to the offensive staff. But it really seems like there is going to be a change at the major play caller spot.
Minimum with Drew Petzing. Michael, $4.99. Cardinal fan here for 22 years from Rochester, New York. JV's rant after the Titans loss was the most heartfelt sports video I've ever watched. Keep it up. Thank you so much for that, Michael. It was the beginning of the end. We had our friend Adam Hogue from CHGO Bears, and he called it and encapsulated it perfectly. It was like the end of the Bears season last year with the Hail Mary. And I appreciate the kind words. It's not a fun team to cover right now. I think a lot of people just, are disassociating with the team until the offseason. And while that's disappointing for us, because we were so excited for this year, the Cardinals just have completely bottomed out. And it's, I know people don't feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry for Gannon when I watch some of these press conferences when he's not kind of being a little bit arrogant and condescending. I feel bad for him.
What else we got for these super chats? Do appreciate that. Desert Vulture, St. Louis Cardinals, 1975 best offensive line, 8 sacks in that season. Rams might get that many on Sunday.
Jared Verse, Braden Fisk,
Young, Dan Dierdorf, and was it Conrad Dobler? Can they get in there for the Cardinals this week? Might be better options than some of the Cardinals on the roster.
I thought their O-line was better last week, but then you listen to Baldy, and Baldy's like, Tampa's defense is incredible.
Yeah, you had the corpse of Hassan Reddick coming back to the lineup.
That's too much. That hurts. Tyler P, $6.99 Canadian. It's time to shelve the narrative that D-Rod just needs more time. Nolan, who's played a couple more games, has shown to be much more #bus. I don't disagree with the latter that Walter Nolan's a better player, but he was that coming out. I think Darius, to me, you're going to keep him on the roster. You're just hoping that he can develop. I've seen spurts. People doing a nice breakdown on Twitter of him winning some reps. And their run defense was better last week, but let's see what he does this week. And he is not as violent of a player as you need him to be. And you look at him physically and you're like, he should be able to dominate anybody.
We need to get to a point starting off next season, getting into training camp where Walter Nolan is just a healthy player going forward. It's going to be so key. He's such an impact maker. And they've been robbed of that for a lot of this season.
Man, thank you guys so much for the super chats. Hit that like button. I want to remind everybody we're going to be live for pre-halftime posts this weekend, along with a watch party online here on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe. Be in studio with our guy Britton Golden and Noah. Bo will be at the stadium for a Cardinal game that will be tough to look away.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to everybody that kind of tagged us in their end of the year review, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Donnie, Brian, Turtle Trolls, Gabriel, Tim G, Andrew, Jay Chima on Instagram reached out, Dan Cooper, Top Flow Boss, Dylan Richards. How about Julian, Brandon Butterfield, JT's tweets, Zeke, Brian P, Danny, Congro Jenkins, that Sports Guy 7, Jesus, and of course our guy from Bird Gang Travel, Tyler. Shout out to them for them recognizing us and how much they listen, they watch. We appreciate you guys more than you'll ever know, putting us in position to be the top Cardinals podcast show out there, and it's all because of all of you. Yes, absolute sickos.
Sickos, and we need all the sickos to get us through the month of December. After a huge month of November, by the way. Hit that like button. Again, check out that Baldy video on demand yesterday. And, of course, we're going to have full coverage of Cards against the LA Rams this weekend. Let's see if we can get Trey McBride and Michael Wilson over the century mark. That will be key. Hit that like button for Bo. No, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you on Sunday.
We all silly like the mayor.